You don't want to miss this episode. We're going to talk about habits of the wealthy. If you follow the habits of the wealthy, you will get what the wealthy have. We're going to copy and paste habits of the wealthy. Hi, everyone. I'm Darren Mitchell. Welcome to Control and Compound. Joining me as always, Christina Wyatt. Christina, how you doing today?
Hey, Darren. I am doing great. Very excited for this podcast. I love talking about good habits. You know, what the wealthy do. Love following what the wealthy do. So I'm excited to talk about this today.
Yeah, I love a Tony Robbins quote. If you want what somebody else has, copy their behaviors and do what they're doing. Like it's sometimes we overanalyze or we get jealous of people, but if you see someone that is successful, why don't we adopt those strategies? And that's kind of what we do with the infinite banking strategy, investing in businesses, investing in real estate. It's like, oh, well, that's the path to becoming wealthy. So today we're kind of going to dig in, well, what are the habits of the wealthy? And let's dig into this.
Before we jump in, though, just want to remind everybody that if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please make sure that you subscribe and leave that 5-star review. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you always know when new content is coming out. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Control and Compound on Instagram and TikTok. I need to remind everybody.
All right. Yes, thank you. I never remember that you have to say that. Okay, so we're going to talk about habits of the wealthy. And I just want to kind of clarify, when we say wealthy, we're not just talking about money here, right? There's a bunch of different avenues. Like Strategic Coach has the 4 freedoms. They have the freedom of time, right? So when you're spending money or spending time at work and in your outside of work, you want enough time that you can do the things you want to do. You don't want to be working 24 hours a day. So we get that freedom of time. We get that freedom of money, so you can do the things you want to do, and also no cap, no ceiling on how much money or income you can make. We want freedom of relationships, and that's again both inside and outside work. You want to be spending time with people you like, right? And I don't care if that's at the office or that's at home or that's on the weekends or going out with your friends. You want to be around people you like and have the freedom to do that. And you want freedom of purpose. And as entrepreneurs, like, this actually really resonates with me because I see what we do at Control and Compound. We change lives. Like when we help people, we see sometimes how their life can transform. We've seen it with employees, how employees' lives can transform working for us. And that matters to me. Like, that is really impactful. And then we talk about health, right? Like, I went to a conference in Utah, and it was the first day was on health and the second day was on wealth, because they said, what's the point of wealth if you don't have health? So all these freedoms are kind of incorporated in this podcast today. It's not just about money. We all like money, but we like those other freedoms as well. So let's dig into the first habit, Christina.
Yes, I'm excited to dig into the habits, but I also want to kind of just touch on mindset. So we're going to dig into mindset too, but the habits, I think that the mindset for wealthy individuals is completely different. And that's where these habits evolve and come from, through the mindset of wealthy individuals. So kind of keep that in perspective as we're going through these different habits, is that in order to start doing these habits, you've got to change your mindset first, right? You got to really dig into it, buy into it. So the first habit that we're going to talk about is setting clear goals. And I love this one. I love process. I like organization. But I think this is really, really important because you need to have a vision. We hear about people having, you got your vision board. It's one thing for me to say, I'm going to be wealthy. It's another thing for me to say, I'm going to save $50,000 between now and next year for a down payment on an investment property, right? Like, you have to be clear with the goals that you want to achieve, and you have to have that vision to get there. Because if you have that vision, it's going to give you the dedication. It's going to, you're going to be able to see the steps going forward. So we've talked before about setting SMART goals. And I think that's very important because, like I said, you can't just say you're going to do something and that's a goal. You have to make that goal SMART. And what SMART is, for the S, it's going to be a specific goal. So like I said, saving $50,000 over this year, let's say. You need to have M, so measurable. We know once we've hit that 50,000, we've achieved that goal. We want to have achievable, so it can't be something out to lunch. That is not possible. It has to be, it can't be a gimme, or it can't be a gimme too, where it's easy, but it also has to be achievable. And then you want it to be relevant, so relevant to the big picture. Last one too is that you want to have it time bound. So you can't just say, I'm going to do this at some point. You have to give yourself specific timelines on when you're going to achieve that goal. And I think setting the goals and creating that vision really sets the groundwork for getting to those places you want to be, right? If we don't have that vision, we don't have that goal set in place, we're never going to take that step further.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Habit number 2 is consistent learning and self-improvement. And Christina, we talk about this almost all the time. You need to invest in yourself. But if we look at when we kind of looked at what the wealthy people do, they have habits of consistently learning. You talk to every CEO, they're big readers. They read books. Now there's podcasts, there's audio books, but learning about new topics, learning about new subjects, that's going to allow you to grow. Learning about the infinite banking concept, change our lives. Learning about real estate investing, learning how to be a better business owner. And really in today's day and age, there's no excuse because you can have what, again, Tony Robbins calls net activities, no extra time, right? You're in your car, you can listen to a podcast on Bitcoin. You're driving or you're at the gym, you can listen to an audiobook on how to grow as a person. Like there's all kinds of free resources out there, some for a little bit of money. Yeah, you can hire coaches, you can do all this, but start with that free stuff and just take advantage of that idle time in your car, take advantage of that time on the plane, and spend a little bit of time. One of the things I picked up years ago was with a blank piece of paper. So first thing in the morning, some days I like to get up and just have a blank piece of paper and kind of map out some ideas, things that are kind of percolating in the back of your brain. Just take that blank piece of paper, spend 20 or 30 minutes in the morning. For me is my most creative and productive time, and just say, okay, well, what could I do in this area of my life, or what could we do in this area of our business, and spend a little time being creative when no one's around, no distractions. That quality time, that's a real great investment in yourself. So consistent learning, self-improvement, habit number 2.
All right, moving on to habit number 3, smart money management. And wealthy individuals look at money differently than other individuals so much. So as I've said, they got a different mindset on it. And a couple things here that I want to touch on. So a habit that a wealthy individual would do would be something like cash flow plan. I don't like saying budgeting. People don't like to budget. Nobody wants to budget. So you have a cash flow plan. You know what's coming in. You know what's going out. You have full control of what's happening in your finances, with your expenses, with your incoming, with your outgoing. The second piece to that is paying yourself first. And I say this a lot. If you don't pay yourself first, you won't pay yourself at all. And it doesn't just come from me, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So everybody says it. You must pay yourself first. And I believe that it should also be automated, right? And that kind of brings us back to the infinite banking strategy, setting up your foundation, having that automatic savings account set up for yourself, putting that money into the high cash value life insurance policy, but paying yourself first. So you're consistently putting that money to the side. Another piece when it comes to money that I wanted to touch on too is having money in motion. So wealthy individuals do not just let their money sit. That is the worst place that, having cash, that's the only place you can really lose money. 100% you're going to lose money if you just keep it in cash, right? It's going to get eaten away by inflation. They don't just sit on that cash. We need to keep money in motion when money's stagnant and dies. So doing things like investing in you, investing in business, real estate, all of those great things, but save first, absolutely. So have that automatic systemized savings plan set up for yourself, and then don't just sit on it. You want to multiply it, right? You want to have that money in motion, which is really, really important to grow your wealth, because money sitting is no good. No good for anyone. We have to have it moving.
All right, habit number 4, and this one I'm not going to disagree. I'm gonna differentiate a little bit. So this one is developing multiple streams of income. I think it's a great idea. You hear all these stories about wealthy people having 5, 6, or 7 different streams of income. So it makes sense, right? If you're a business owner, maybe you want some real estate over here doing it. Maybe you want a side business, or maybe you're just a regular worker and you say, I want to start an Amazon store. I'm going to start a whatever your side hustle is, and that's great. And I think that's wonderful strategy long term, to have multiple streams of income. One of the most common ones in business, we see business owners who then own the building as well. Maybe they'll sell the business, hang on to the building, collect some rent for a while, and then sell that. Like, again, multiple streams of income. But there's going to be periods of time in your life when it's just time to hammer down. It is time to focus, focus, focus and say, I am going to put everything I have, blood, sweat, and tears, all my time, effort, and money into this business, into this project. And once I build that project, once I build that business, 100%, I want multiple streams of income, the money you generate from that. But sometimes I think people starting out think they hear, oh, wealthy people have 7 streams of income. Yeah, well, they do now, but they didn't. They got wealthy by focusing on one thing. I don't think Jeff Bezos was worried about 7 streams of income when he was selling his first book out of his garage. He was focused on building Amazon as big and fast as he could. Now I'm sure he's got multiple zillion dollars of income. But, again, these habits, certain times in your life, they're going to be more applicable. I think focusing is going to be part of your life. All in. Business owners that really successful, they go all in. But long term, you want multiple streams of income. So that's habit number 4.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on one thing there too, Darren, which I think people might miss, is that wealthy individuals fail. They fail a lot. So when you're going out, like we talk about the Amazons, like that didn't happen overnight. There's 10 failures that came before that was a success. So while you're building out these additional revenue income streams, you might find a place where it doesn't work. Maybe that side hustle doesn't work. Maybe the business doesn't work out. Maybe the real estate deal falls through. It is not time to stop, right? Right before you become successful, you typically fail. It's right on that other side, that success. So you want to make sure that you don't give up, because that's where the best things happen, when you keep on trucking. So there absolutely will be failures on your way to being wealthy. The next one that we have on here that we want to talk about is delaying gratification and avoiding lifestyle creep. And I think this one's really important, because in this day and age, everybody has everything at their fingertips. And if they want it, they can have it now. And so they do that, and they might not delay that gratification. Sometimes to get wealthy, you have to delay the gratification, right? You're either going to work really hard in your 20s or 30s, or you're going to keep working really hard in your 60s and 70s. There is no other way that this is going to play out. And the only way to get to being wealthy is to kind of, maybe you don't get to take those lavish trips in the early years. Maybe you do house hack and you live in the other side of the duplex, and you take that time not having that big fancy house that you want. Those are the things that you might have to give up now so that you have that wealth created later. And if you listen to any wealthy individual story, they're going to have that same story as part of it. They did not start out in the big fancy house, and some of them to this day still don't live in the big fancy house, to be honest, right? They live within their means, and they take all that extra and they put it towards their investments. They put it towards their future and their growth. And that's where they see success happen, is that delayed gratification. It's almost like you don't take it today, so you're helping your future self, right? That's what you're doing. When you delay gratification, you're making your future self better. So do it for yourself, right? Take that time. So another part of that is not letting lifestyle creep come up. So as you're growing these income streams, I think it's important that you immediately reallocate everything that you make. So if you are okay living in the means that you are now, take everything that you're making on top of that, divert it to high cash value life insurance policy, savings plan, get it out of that bank account, because you absolutely will spend it. And yeah, I think I think it's important. I'm kind of passionate about that one, is that you've got to give up a little bit now to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I think that is actually one of the best ones on here, Christina. I was talking to a young person the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I wish I had more money that I could put into Bitcoin." And I just stopped and I said, "Okay, let's think about that." I go, "You're going to have all kinds of opportunities over the next 40 or 50 years of your life. And every single opportunity that comes along, unless you're in a position to take advantage of that opportunity is going to pass you by." So when you're planning out your income, your savings, your infinite banking policies, whatever it is over the next X amount of years, if you don't allocate enough money in that opportunity fund, so when the next opportunity comes along, you're going to be saying the exact same thing in 5 years or 10 years about whatever other opportunity. I wish I had been able to buy that business. I wish I had been able to take a risk because I had saved money so I could do this. When I gave up a nice corporate job and started my first business with an income of 0, it was daunting. But I had that kind of safety net, war chest, that I could start a business and not worry about, where the first month or 2 of income was going to come from. But I see people all the time that are very talented, but they never save that money because, as you said, the bracket creep. It's like, oh, I got a raise. Let's go to Disney. Oh, I got a bonus. Let's buy a fancy new car. There's going to be some healthy struggles in there that's going to allow you to grow a lot longer, long term. Habit number 6 is networking and building connections. This is huge, and this some of this comes with experience, but you can really work at this. Like I'm just absolutely amazed over my career how the people I've met that I didn't necessarily at the time realize how impactful they would be on my career and my life. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, if I didn't go to that conference and I didn't learn this topic or meet this person, then 6 years later, when we connected again, and now we have a partnership or we're doing an event together. So getting out there and networking, building relationships, finding a mentor, and that's really challenging. And when I went through my whole education crusade back in 2008-9, like I would ask people for help. And, I have young people come to me sometimes and ask for things. And like, you'd be amazed how people will help you if you ask. So try to find that person that you can ask for help, try to find that mentor, and then just try to find connections because, your friends today could be hugely successful in the future of people that you want to be around. So building more relationships is never going to hurt you, but wealthy people make a lot of connections, make a lot of relationships, and then you never know when you're going to need those connections, but they're going to come in handy.
Yeah, network. Your network is your net worth, right?
Yes.
All right. So the next one I really like, and it's mindset of abundance and positivity. But I really think it's mindset in general, right? At the end of the day, it's mind over matter. So it's what you want to believe and it's what you want to focus on. And if you have a positive outlook on life, if you know you've got that vision that we created, you're positive, you practice gratitude daily, you come into it, happy, positive, optimistic, you're going to have a better return on life. Absolutely, right? You're the only one that can decide how your day is going to go. Nobody else can. So if you can put your mind and keep it positive, you're going to be able to achieve much greater things. I was talking to you today a bit of Darren. I started a new app that I get every morning. It's called PEP. It's actually really cool if anybody wants to check it out. But once a day, it sends me a bit of an inspirational quote or an inspirational speech from different speakers, motivators, people that I enjoy listening to. Changes your mindset for the day. Like immediately I go into it with a different mindset on how I'm going to approach the day. Keeps me positive. Another one that I like to practice too is gratitude. And what wealthy individuals will practice is gratitude, right? At the end of the day, looking back and thinking, what am I grateful for? Because that's going to keep pushing you further to that better person that you want to be. And we as we started, we're talking about financial wealth, but we're also talking about wealth in all these other places. And to be a better person is going to help you in all of those different areas. And just being positive, practicing positivity, practicing gratitude, all of those things are going to create wealth all around you, I think.
Yeah, you can't hear these core habits or principles of practicing gratitude, being a good person, being in the right mindset. Like, who doesn't want to be around someone who's positive? Like, we all know those negative people that bring you down. You're talking to them and you're just like, oh. And then we know those positive people. And again, it's to your point, it's a choice. I remember years ago getting my car getting smashed. This guy ran into me, and my wife was pleasantly surprised at my attitude. And I was like, well, I can be happy and have a smashed car, or I can be sad and have a smashed car. Either way, I have a smashed car. It's a choice you make each and every day. And I love that PEP app. I want to check that out. I love that stuff.
Yeah, and I want to just tie one more thing in with the networking that you talked about. I think that it's very important that you surround yourself with individuals that are also positive, right? Having those people around you. I read something the other day on the internet, and it was like, yeah, you sit down with a wealthy person, and I sat down with a wealthy person the other day, and they talked about their family, they talked about their business, they talked about something that they learned new on the podcast. He's like, and then I sat down with another person that, I knew from high school or whatever, and they talked about how bad the weather was that day. They talked about the restaurant they wanted to eat at, and they talked about, that crappy guy from high school kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like surrounding yourself with the people with the right attitude, with that positivity, and having the same mindset of you is going to take you very, very far.
All right. Okay. So that was the habits of the wealthy. Again, wealth isn't just money. There's all kinds of other areas of your life. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this episode of Control and Compound. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you never miss a new episode. And if you're ready to learn more, head to our website, controlandcompound.com. The link's below.